national champion, America. Another second half comeback by the Gators. Orange and blue confetti, they're chomping down the nets as national champions for the third time and the first time since their back-to-back titles in 2006 and 7. And we welcome you all to the season finale of Bracket Breakdown. 1 hour to look back on tonight's national championship. From our spot in Civic Park in San Antonio, Adam Zucker, alongside Wally Zerbiak, Steve Lapis, Chris Walker, John Rothstein, many more friends on the way. But how about it? How about this whole weekend?
Yeah. I mean, what a game. What a scintillating Final Four. 3 unbelievable basketball games. That's what you get when you get 4 number 1 seeds competing in the Final Four. I got to be honest, guys. That game was so close. To be the loser in that one, it could have gone either way. I can't imagine what Houston is feeling right now in that locker room. That's where the devastating side of sports. Yes. One team has to win that game. There's so much on the line for those kids, their lives, their futures, the coaching staff, everything. Just to be the loser is so tough in that game.
You know, how much drama can we have in 3 games? 3 tremendous games, all with a tremendous amount of drama. And ultimately, in the end, and we lauded Houston's toughness and physicality this entire tournament. And in the end, the game was played like Houston wanted it played, but Florida proved tonight to be the tougher team. Because I thought with 11 minutes to go in the game, their defense was every bit up to the challenge of Houston's defense, and they did a great job. You got to give them credit. Worthy champion.
Yeah, certainly worthy champion, and I'll just allude to the fact that it was just 3 great games. That's really what it came down to. We sat and watched every single game. How many Final Fours have we done? And we're like, okay, this game's over, this game's over. We're eating in the trailer, we're doing something, but everyone glued to every single game, and I think that the committee did a great job, and now it was up to the teams to get there. They got there, and they gave us a show.
No, the show was unbelievable, and in doing this now, 20 years, I've never seen a Final Four with 3 games like this. And think about it, in every single game, the team that wound up losing looked like it was in control for a large chunk of the game. Auburn had a lead at the half on Saturday. Duke had a big lead, obviously, against Houston. And tonight, for about 35 minutes, Houston looked like it would win the national championship. But my heart breaks for Emmanuel Sharp. I think back to moments in this tournament that we look back on. Lap, you remember Freddie Brown in 1982 throwing the ball to the wrong team. My heart breaks for Emmanuel Sharp.
He did, you know what, though? At least he didn't pick the ball back up.
Yeah.
It can cause the turnover. Let's look back at some of the biggest moments from tonight's national championship game. The Cardio Cougars going for their first ever national title, 3 hours from campus against the Gators team, riding one late comeback after the next behind Walter Clayton Jr., who, by the way, had no points at halftime. Todd Golden had no tournament wins until this year. Kelvin Sampson trying to be the oldest coach to ever do it, and it was his bench rallying to the cause, forcing 9 turnovers in the first half. Malik Wilson with the big finish, C-Walk. The Cougars up by 5.
Yeah, he had 7 minutes off the bench first half, and look at that shot right there. Will Richard, I thought he'd be an X factor. 14 first half points in the second half. L.J. Cryer, man, just been playing unbelievable, knocking down the shot, and that shot gets blocked right there. And Wally's boy 10, Thomas Hawk with the layup. They are fired up. And this game, guess what, though? As Adam says, the Cardiac Cougars. Cryer knocks down the triple from the corner, but this guy, come on, they held him scoreless. Here he comes.
Yeah, tie game at 48 at that point, and it was back and forth the rest of the way. Jawan Roberts with the miss, but Francis with the nasty putback dunk. Clayton, well-diagrammed play, gets him an open look, drains the 3, tied at 60, under 3 to go. The miss by Cryer, but Roberts with the tip-in, back and forth. 1-point lead for Florida. And here's a costly turnover. Emmanuel Sharp off his knee. They looked a little confused down the stretch. Last play of the game, Sharp comes up on the elevator screen. Can't get the look. Gets up in the air, pandemonium, don't have a chance to foul, don't have a chance to get your hands back on the ball, and the game ends on this final possession. What a way to lose. Heartbreaking loss for Houston. They were up 12 in the second half, and the jubilation that the Gators are feeling, incredible.
Incredible. And Walter Clayton Jr. ends up winning Most Outstanding Player, not his Not his crazy scoring night that we're used to, but he was huge down the stretch, averaged 22 points a game in this championship run for the Gators, their third all-time. Tracy Wolfson with the winners after the game.
Coach, you told me that if you won this national championship, the feeling would be surreal. I can see the shock on your face right now. Take us through, though, the stretch of that game. You guys were down 12 points at one point. The fight that this team showed to get it done.
We did what we did all year. We stayed the course. We have the best backcourt in America. I think we have the best front court in America. And like we've done all year, we made plays when we needed the most. We guarded our butts off down the stretch, made every 50-50 winning play. The Gators are natty, baby. We got the natty, baby. We got the natty. Let's go!
Now, Will, you were his first commit. You guys lost in the first round, and the turnaround you were able to do. What was the difference with this team this year?
Just how connected we are. I mean, we all love each other. We love playing for each other, and we love being a Gator, man. Gator boys, stay hot. Gator boys, stay hot.
Now, Walter, I know it wasn't the easiest game for you, but the feeling of being able to cut down the nets and hoist a national championship trophy.
Man, it's a feeling I can't even explain, man. I can't wait, though. I love you, Mom. I can't wait to see my mama, man. Mama, I love you, girl.
You guys go enjoy this one. Congratulations.
Now we all have to call home after the show. And it wasn't like they were down a ton as late as some of these other comebacks that they had, especially with Texas Tech and before that UConn. But against a Houston team with the best defense in the country, to be down 12 feels like even more. And Walter Clayton Jr., as I said, named most outstanding player, 9 points in the last 8 minutes, and he only had 2 in the first 32 minutes. He came alive again in different ways, and their defense answered the call.
Well, the defense was tremendous, but you see all those comebacks there. I mean, the one thing that this team had, and they proved they were resilient also, and that they could win a close game like that down the stretch. But the truth is, the last 2 minutes, Houston had 4 turnovers. Their offense was completely stagnant. Now, I don't know if they were tired. As we talked about before the show, these guys played late the other night, emotional wing, but you saw no movement here. Actually, Manuel Sharp, they needed the shot fake, but these were not good plays. There wasn't much movement. They weren't screening bodies. And again, you can look at it and say, were they a little tired? Did they run out of gas in this game? You don't know that, but they looked a little bit spent to me in the last 5-6 minutes.
This is why college basketball is the greatest sport that we have in our society. We spent 2 days talking about the offense of Walter Clayton Jr., the fact that he dropped 34 on Saturday, which tied a record that hasn't been really done since 1989 when Danny Ferry did it at Duke. And tonight, he helped Florida win the national championship by playing defense on Emmanuel Sharp on that last play and facilitating to his teammates. Nobody would have thought that's how he would impact this game. He impacted it not scoring.
You know what? It was a tough game, and Lap, you're right. There could be evidence of fatigue down the stretch because I thought L.J. Cryer got a little tired. That's why I was glad to see Will Richard, who was 0 for 5 in the last 2 games with 3. He picked up the slack, even though Walter Clayton Jr. did not play well. But the other side to that is the offensive possessions of Houston down the stretch. I'm sure they would love to have those back. I mean, they were in the bonus with almost 14 minutes to go and did not get to the foul line. And again, when you're up like that, I'm sure Kelvin Sampson, who's an elite coach, it's hard to play Monday morning quarterback and critique. They got to the national championship game, but their offensive possessions were pedestrian down the stretch, and it cost them the game. They're the Scott Street Bullies. They played at their pace. It was exactly what they wanted, but you know what they couldn't do? They couldn't finish. No. That's what it came down to. They did it. No matter what you say about Florida, they did exactly what they wanted to do, and they could not finish down the stretch offensively. So the team who's the best defensive team in the country did not get it done on the offensive end.
No, they took 16 more shots from the field, too.
The adjustments that Florida made was the key to that victory because Houston took Walter Clayton Jr. completely out of the game. and they wanted other guys to beat him, and Will Richard stepped up, and he beat him. He went 4 for 7 from the three-point line. He had 14 points in the first half, and I think it was an outstanding job of that coaching staff seeing Walter Clayton's not going to get good looks, but other guys be ready to shoot. Will Richard was ready to shoot, throwing 8 boards, a block, and 2 steals. He played the complete game, and that's what you get from seniors that have been experienced in college basketball. You get guys that are not afraid of the moment. You get guys that can read a game and adjust to the way the defense is guarding their team. Tommy Houck did the same thing. In the second half, their defense on the pick and roll was outstanding. They had mobile bigs that could go out there and show. There wasn't a lot of driving angles in room, and the way they rotated and the way they got to shooters in that second half, the last 15 minutes of that game, their defense, as good as of an offensive team as they're known to be, was flawless, and that's why they won the national championship.
All right, there you go, huh?
Well, the genius of Kelvin Sampson. They shoot 35%, and they have a shot to tie the game in the national championship game. So that really was Houston, just couldn't finish it tonight.
Just could not finish. And by the way, the Gators overcame 2 technical foul calls against them as well. We have so much more to discuss about this national championship. Up next, our teammates over on the court, led by Brent Stover, whose hair was trending earlier tonight. Yeah, Stove! Congratulations, man. They will join us to break down what decided things. Post-game interviews as well. We're with you for a full hour on March Madness Bracket Breakdown.